like to call this meeting to order. The date is Thursday, March 2nd. The time is 6:04 p.m. And as per usual, we can rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. I'd also like to make a motion. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session and adjourn that and enter into public session. Time at 6:05 p.m. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll begin with public comment tonight. Charlene may have a list of speakers, and she'll read the list, and then after that we can call on people individually. And then I'd also just like to say it's nice to see everyone out tonight. We have a nice agenda this evening, and we're looking forward to hearing from everybody.
Amanda Holmein?
Hi, Amanda Grove-Holmein.
And Amanda, you could come to the.
I'm here because we thought tonight was further continuation discussion of the implementation of the traffic study. I understand that's been postponed, but since I'm here, I just want to take the opportunity to say we are very much looking forward to the removal of the barricade, to the signage going up, and please don't forget North Captain's Neck to Bishop's Court, because that is a right turn, just like the other three, and it didn't even appear on the traffic study. So I just would like to remind you, and thank you. We're looking forward to resolving this. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Robert Holmein?
I don't have anything to say, given
And-
that the schedule changed, so.
Thank you, Robert. And again, just a reminder, everyone could come to the podium and then state your name and address for the record. And thank you again, Robert, and thank you, Amanda.
Merrill Lieberman?
Merrill Lieberman, 1501 Devon Court. I want to thank the trustees for being very steadfast in helping us to get to a solution. I also thought that there was going to be a public hearing this evening. We're really looking forward, eagerly awaiting that barricade coming down and the implementation of the traffic study. We had hoped that it would have been done by now, and we're truly looking forward to it coming down before the start of the season. So thank you.
So will we.
Thank you, Meryl.
The formal report was not ready for this evening's presentation. That's what the delay is, but they're on schedule for the next meeting.
David Wrong?
Good evening. David Wrong, 85 Pleasant Drive. You've heard that before. On February 21st, I attended the hearing on my grievance of the village's assessed value of my property. It is valued at $5 million. For over 20 years, my $2 million property has been assessed at a higher amount than this $5 million property. An example of the absurd results produced by the village's approach to determining assessed values. That result has caused my wife and me $30,000 in excess taxes. How does the village determine assessed values? They primarily rely on a 1992 appraisal for the core of the properties. This is the 21st century. Using data that's 30 years old is absurd, is ridiculous. Properties that have been improved upon since 1992 use some multiple of costs that is added to determine the assessed value. Now, one good thing that's come out of my year-long crusade on this issue is that Bill and Gina told me that the village will stop the deliberate deception on the statement of taxes, which I have a copy of, which says fair market value of property, and that then provides a number that is maybe 20% of value. So a direct misconception or deception. And it then provided an amount that isn't. So they agree that that statement will be taken, that comment will be taken off these statements. That's an improvement in the integrity of the village. I could not get them to commit to producing a clear statement of how the village does determine assessed values. Where is the transparency? Last year, when I had my grievance meeting, Roy Stevens called me with the results of my grievance hearing. They had reduced my value by 20%. It should have been reduced by 50%. I was irate. Roy told me that he was the only one to advocate for a reduction, that Joe McLaughlin and Bill McCoy, the assessor, voted no change. I subsequently talked to Joe, and he told me that Roy's comment was not true. His specific quote was, "Don't know why Roy would throw me under the bus." And that in last week's meeting, when I met with Bill McCoy, also at this grievance hearing, he said that Roy's comment was not truthful.
Mr. Rung, your 3 minutes is up.
If Roy has lied to me, he needs to resign.
Thank you, David.
Pippa Gerard.
I'm Pippa Gerard, 611 Hill Street in Southampton Village. I have a question about the water ordinance that I saw on the agenda for this evening. I'm all in favor of restricting the amount of water we use when we're watering our lawn and everything. I'd like to know if businesses will also have restrictions. Specifically, the Suffolk County Water Department, I believe, sells licenses and permits to companies and they come and take the water out of the fire hydrants on Hill Street, which is in the village. And that's a lot of water going out all the time. So will those businesses also have the restrictions? That's a question.
Pip, I'm happy to answer that question and turn this over. Tonight, we're just going to be discussing a proposal that the Suffolk County Water Authority gave to us. And we wanted to get some community input because we know some people might be in favor of it, some people might not, some people like you might have some good ideas about including businesses. And it's just something we wanted to put out to the community, obviously because last summer we had the drought and they're reaching out to all their municipal partners and they've been a good partner to us, so we wanted to give that to them. And so thank you for the feedback. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's it for the list.
Okay. If anyone would like to come forward, please raise your hand and you can come up. And again, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Hi, my name is Stephen Welch, a longtime resident of Sabonic Road in Tuckahoe. I've not met four of you, so introduce it. Bill, we haven't talked in 20 years.
Quite a while.
I actually haven't found it necessary to speak before a municipal board in 20 years.
Well, I'm glad you've come back.
Well, thank you. All right, now my 3 minutes starts. But I'm here strongly opposing what you've done with the traffic assessment. It's a draft assessment, 2-page assessment. First of all, Nelson Pope has zero credibility. They will never recover their credibility. Everyone knows this in Hampton Bays. I think you could run for townwide office on a plank of never hiring Nelson Pope again. It opens with saying you're going to study how traffic coming down from County Road 39 is impacting the village. Traffic isn't coming down from County Road 39. I mean, somebody said, yeah, it's coming down David White's Lane in an act of xenophobia. They dislike that, but no one is coming down. It's coming from White, and it's coming from Prospect. And what you're proposing to do here is well, I think you're really sowing the wind. I mean, I was once in a traffic jam at County Road 24 and 110 during the height of the Pine Barrens forest fire. And it was a disaster. I mean, people were acting out, including the police. So I really hate the idea that the comity of the village, the graciousness of the village, is being worn away, chipped away slight at a time. Do you know how wide Somerset Avenue is? I sandbagged you. It's 33 feet wide. Do you know how wide Bishop's is? You can take a 24-inch metal tape measure and hold it between the metal mailbox at 110 and 111, and it's 21 feet. And at a spot in the road that always has standing water, it has a bower of trees overhead, it's always shady. Somerset has 15 lampposts, it has its own sump, it has drains. It's, people saying they're dangerous to walk their dogs. I think it's more dangerous to walk your dog on a 21-foot wide road with no verge than it is on a 33 thing. Then it goes in and it says that they do a calculation with a 90-degree turn within 100 feet of radius as being dangerous at 30 miles an hour. What's the village speed limit? It's 25 miles an hour, or it was until recently. Why do they use a value not in evidence of 30 miles an hour? It is dangerous to go around a 90-degree turn at 25 miles an hour. It's 20 miles. Then outside the neighborhood, McGee Street makes a 90-degree turn, and you put up a stop sign there. That's why I'm here. I got nagged for a stop sign. Go to the stop sign. All politics is local. And I said to the policeman, I said, well, I went down McGee Street and they had removed the barriers, and I was looking to see that they had been officially removed and not torn aside. So I went through the intersection at 2 miles an hour, and the policeman said, I didn't say you were speeding. So he said, don't the residents of Somerset Avenue have a right to have their stop signs enforced? Yeah, but I wasn't even in the neighborhood. You know, and if you wanted to add a stop sign to slow down traffic, the natural place to do it is at the other end of the Pleasant Crescent.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it's absurd there because you only have 25 feet. You have 100 feet, like a city block, stop sign, 100 feet, 90-degree turn, 100 feet, another turn. It's not an unsafe neighborhood. If a truck rolled over once going around the turn, that's proof that traffic calming, which is what a turn like that is, was designed into the neighborhood as it was designed into its sister neighborhood at Fox Hollow and Harvest. You put a 90-degree turn at Cooper's Farm, is that unsafe? You're going to block traffic there?
Sir, you 3 minutes.
Gotcha.
You got it. I know.
Thank you very much, Stephen. If there is an issue to bring someone out after 20 years of never appearing in front of a public body, it is traffic. So we understand the concern. Thank you for the comments. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak publicly? Okay, excellent. If not, we're going to move to the next portion of our meeting, which we're all very excited about. That is the Employee of the Month. And this month, our Employee of the Month is P.O. Edward McIntyre from the Southampton Village Police Department. And he's nominated by Sergeant John Roediger. And if you'd like to come up and say a few words, we'd love to have you. We know you've given us some material as well, but we thank you very much for coming out and the whole group coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right. On Thursday, February 2nd of this year, Officer McIntyre was working a midnight shift when he encountered a vehicle going the wrong way on Cameron Street, and he observed it turn onto Main Street. Officer McIntyre stopped the driver for multiple vehicle and traffic violations. When the driver was interviewed, it was determined that he was in an intoxicated condition, and subsequently he was arrested. While attempting to move the defendant's vehicle to a safer spot, Officer McIntyre did find a loaded 9mm firearm within the vehicle. Officer McIntyre did take the defendant into custody without incident or injuries to the general public, the police, or the defendant himself. Officer McIntyre is also a dedicated employee that makes Southampton Village a safer place to live and work. And he also dedicates his personal time to charities that result in funds being donated to several causes throughout the village. And that is why I nominated Officer McIntyre for Employee of the Month, and that's why we're here tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you for your service.
I would only add it's great to see everyone out tonight, and we are very fortunate to have a tremendous police department, the best in the business. And sometimes it's not apparently clear, but it should be. And I want to let the entire department know on behalf of the board that we really appreciate you and the entire Southampton Village Police Department. The number one issue here, obviously, in addition to traffic, is safety. And that's something that the men and women of our department do extremely well, as evidenced here by the Employee of the Month and Sergeant, you coming forward and taking the initiative to nominate the members of your team. So we're very fortunate for everybody here, and I just want that to be abundantly clear that we do appreciate everybody, and we're extremely fortunate, and that's why a lot of people want to be here in Southampton. And obviously, when the Southampton Village Police Department succeeds, we succeed. This is it's work that we have to do together. A lot of our village police department stepped up on our traffic pilot program. I know everyone's going to step up again if we roll out the results of the study. And so we obviously, need everybody here, and that's obviously we can just communicate what our community lets us know, but we're very appreciative, and I know I speak on behalf of the entire board for that. We're very lucky, and we'd love to, if there's anything that obviously the department needs, feel free to come forward anytime, and we want to be there for you. And if that's not abundantly clear again, we want to reiterate that. So thank you very much to everybody. We're fortunate to have the very best department out there. So thank you. I don't know if there's any additional comments from the board.
I think you said it.
If not, everyone's welcome to stay. We have a few public hearings tonight, but first we have the Budget and Finance Committee presented by Len Zananti, our
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, everybody. Budget and Finance Chair.
That's one way to clear the room.
Bye, Amanda. Bye, Meryl.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Len Zananti, the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee, which consists of Dane Neller, Ed Moneypenny, Rosemary Dios, and James McNaughton. The Budget and Finance Committee, as we know, is advisory to the trustees and the mayor on financial and management matters. The committee is aware of the Board of Trustee discussion about legal fees several weeks ago. And in our advisory role, we have decided to make recommendations to the Board of Trustees on this matter. And I want everyone to know the committee was unanimous in these recommendations. And I need to stress, and I guess I'm looking at you, Mr. Preston, that these are not personally directed at any one of the current contracted lawyers who work for the village.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
These proposals are strictly recommended as a budget and management issue. The recommendations are as follows. One trustee shall be designated as the legal liaison. This trustee shall have oversight of legal engagements and fees across all boards and committees, but the village administrator will be primarily responsible for handling the day-to-day billing matters involving outside counsel. Any matters regarding trustee intervention, which could be conflicts or billings, shall be first handled by the liaison and then by the full board to the extent required by law. In-house counsel, which I'll get to in a few moments, would report directly to the Board of Trustees with oversight by the liaison and management supervision by the village administrator. The Board of Trustees will set an annual budget for legal fees broken out by boards and committees. During the fiscal year, any deviations from the budget shall be reconciled by the village administrator with the advice and consent of the trustee liaison or by the entire board if required by law. The village should evaluate the feasibility of employing on a full-time basis in-house general counsel. Given the village's legal workload, we believe the hiring of our own counsel could reduce legal fees and may serve to improve accountability and responsiveness of our legal representation. All outside counsel will be engaged on a fixed monthly retainer basis only. The monthly retainer for outside counsel cannot be exceeded except for unusual circumstances and only with the approval in advance of the village administrator or the trustee liaison. To avoid conflicts or the appearance of a conflict, no outside counsel or firm shall represent more than one board or committee. The Board of Trustees, General Counsel, and Labor Counsel shall be the attorneys of first resort. Counsel for the other boards and committees shall only be used for an area requiring their subject matter expertise. We urge you to consider retention of outside counsel through an RFP process. It would serve to keep the selection of outside counsel competitive and transparent. The RFP process can be waived if legal retention time is sensitive. And lastly, we urge that this policy be implemented and made effective upon approval of the Board of Trustees, and we recommend that this happens before the next election cycle in June. And that is our recommendations.
Thank you, Len.
Okay, any questions?
So we're going to hire Andrew as full-time village attorney tonight.
That would be up to the Board of
Right,
Trustees.
right.
And again, we stress the nature of this as a business matter.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Len.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So we've got 2 public hearings tonight. I'll make a motion to open the first public hearing, which is Local Law 6-2023, the proposal to amend Section 43 of Chapter 110, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking restrictions, and that regards Layton Avenue. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I will turn this over either to Andrew, or I don't know if Trustee Manger, you wanted to jump in here, but maybe I'll kick it off to Andrew, and then board members could jump in thereafter.
Thank you, Mayor. The proposed local law adds a no parking zone for 203 feet on the south side of Layton Ave proceeding east from North Main, as well as a 45-foot additional no parking zone, another 90 feet east of that, and finally 2 20-foot no parking zones on either side of the first driveway on Hildreth, just south of Layton.
Thank you. Also, just wanted to thank Trustee Manger for his assistance as the building department liaison. He had helped reach out to the fire marshal, who gave us some good guidance, which is part of the reason that we're amending the local law here. But if any board members have comments, you're welcome to make them, or if any members of the public, you're welcome to come up as well.
Yeah, part of this was just for the public. Part of this was done because Layton Avenue is a very narrow road, and the apartment building there on the south side, when there are cars parked in front of it, it provides very little access for emergency service vehicles. So if there were to be a fire in that apartment complex, it would be very difficult to get a fire truck close to the apartment building. So I did have Dean McNamara, the fire marshal, go over and take a look at this, and these were really based upon his recommendations of where there should be gaps in parking so that a fire truck could get close to the curb and hence the building in the event of a fire and the need for, again, life safety issues and saving people from that apartment complex. So again, it was based on his that then Andrew Preston put this into a local law form, and that's what was presented here tonight.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Any other comments from the public? Okay, excellent. Comments from the board? Okay, I'll make a motion to close public hearing regarding local law 6-2023. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to open the second public hearing, which is local law 7-2023, the proposal to amend section 37 of chapter 116, building permits, certificates of occupancy, fees, enforcement as per AKP. The need for LL7 to amend 116-37 was revised to LL9 to amend A119-4. And that proposed law is scheduled for public hearing in April. The approved resolution and proposed law for local law 9 are attached. I'll make a motion. Actually, we're going to make a motion to adjourn this. My apologies.
Mayor, I would invite a motion to table this because of what you just mentioned. This proposed local law is now being subsumed into forthcoming local law 9, which amends chapter A119-4. Both of these were contemplated regarding the fees for renewals of building permits, but this local law is unnecessary given the one that's scheduled for April. So I would suggest a motion to table.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to table. Is there a second? Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have one communication from the board, and that is from Elaine Guild. That is in our packet, so all of our board members have that communication. It's also, I believe, on the village website. We'll move forward with the discussion items tonight, and that is regarding the odd and even watering ordinance. And I'm just going to quickly summarize a letter that was sent to us on February 14th from the Suffolk County Water Authority, who's been a good partner to us. And basically, they had said that the Suffolk County Water Authority is dedicated to the long-term preservation of Suffolk's precious aquifer. The critical resource is the sole source for all of our drinking water and essential to the sustainability of our region. As the largest drinking water provider in the county, Suffolk County Water Authority is permitted to protecting the aquifer for future generations. But in the summer months, it is estimated that 70% of all water usage will be used for this purpose. That puts significant strain on the SCWA. To promote water conservation, the SCWA board recently adopted a resolution that instructs our customers to only water their lawns, gardens, and common areas on odd or even days, matching the calendar date with their street address. Adopting this practice will not only reduce the substantial pressure on the aquifer, but also partition the demand in half to better serve our customers. We believe the Village of Southampton shares a similar interest in seeing our resources protected and our residents adequately supplied with water. The Suffolk County Water Authority is requesting the village adopt an ordinance that would codify the odd and even policy and provide for enforcement. Similar actions have been done throughout Nassau County as well as other towns in Suffolk, including the town of Riverhead. They've enclosed a model for us just for our consideration. Where we can discuss this now, we can discuss this at another meeting, but ultimately this is something that the Suffolk County Water Authority is asking us to consider for the preservation of our water and protection of our aquifer. So I'm not sure if any board members have any comments. It, of course, requires further study and community input. Some residents may like this, some may not, but ultimately, we need to do what's best for the community. And just wanted to turn this over to any board members if they have any suggestions.
So are they suggesting this in anticipation of the water shortage that we had last year, or, because I'm just wondering why they're putting this out now?
It's a combination of.
Usually they wait to the panic
Right,
anyway,
right.
so.
Last year, as you know, we had the
Yeah.
press release, our fire
Yep.
department and so Suffolk County Water Authority and law enforcement and whatnot. And essentially, there may be an anticipation of a water shortage. Last summer, we had not a lot of rain and what could have been a severe drought. And so I think they're just being proactive here and had asked us to consider this. Again, some municipalities have done this and they've received mixed reviews from residents. It's likely the right thing to do, but we have to do something that obviously fits the community, and this is not a one-size-fits-all policy. So perhaps there's something that we can do. The other thing is obviously enforcement is going to be difficult on this, so it's going to require community buy-in for people to take the lead here. I don't know if Andrew, you have any suggestions for us on this?
I think you said it, Mayor. It's a question of balancing what will reduce water consumption with what the public will bear. And going too far with what the public will bear has an enforcement problem. I know that several towns have adopted this. I'm not sure about the list of villages which have adopted it. Nassau County has an odd even watering ordinance. And I've attended several meetings with SCWA about this. It's a question of how much, how far, what are the time constraints if the board is inclined to do this.
Okay. All right. If you recall, last year they had asked that our residents turn water off at midnight and not use the water at night.
Yeah,
So,
midnight to 7 a.m.
Right.
you know. Okay.
So, yeah, I would like a little more time to study this, and maybe we should hold a public hearing so that members of the public can come in and voice their thoughts on this. I think Mrs. Gerard brought up a good point that, maybe the Suffolk County Water Authority should think of again, their licensing of release of water from the fire hydrants during the day, because I know that they do allow that for businesses, especially landscapers, to fill up their water tanks at fire hydrants within the village during the day. And so, it seems like they're only talking about residences here, but that obviously would be another source of usage of water. And since the Suffolk County Water Authority actually grants the licenses to businesses to draw from their fire hydrants, I think we should ask the Suffolk County Water Authority if there are going to be any restrictions on those businesses, especially during these hours, as Mrs. Gerard raised.
Excellent. We will reach back out to them, talk about the businesses and see what guidance they have for us. And I think it could make a lot of sense to have a public hearing, not really to, opine on a local law, but just to get everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
And just to bring everyone together, we can notice it, and we can have people come in on Zoom or in person, so we can do that. So thank you very much,
Yeah.
Trustee Manger. Okay. So we'll keep on moving tonight. I'll turn this back over to you, Charlene, with suggested resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 1, resolve the claims for the warrant dated March 2nd, 2023, totaling $168,221.50, warrant A-22 General Fund, and $76,430.42, warrant H-12 Capital Fund, are audited and approved. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 2, resolved that the reading of the minutes for the public sessions of January 12th and 24th, 2023, and February 9th, 2023 are dispensed. The minutes are accepted as filed by the village clerk, and the actions taken at the meeting are hereby ratified and approved. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 3, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton hereby approve Local Law 6-2023, the proposal to amend Section 43 of Chapter 110, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking restrictions. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 4, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting regarding Local Law 11-2023, the proposal to amend Section 43 of Chapter 110, Schedule L, stopping, standing, and parking restrictions based upon the recommendations of the traffic study. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 5, resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to publish the notice of hearing on the 2023-24 tentative budget scheduled for April 13th at 6 p.m. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 6, resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Southampton authorize the village administrator to publish the notice of public hearing to be held on Tuesday, April 13th, 2023, at 6 p.m. as a hybrid in-person/Zoom meeting for the purpose of considering authorizing the village board to adopt a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2023, which may have a real property tax levy of more than the tax levy limit as defined in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Just as a discussion item, we do this as a routine. It's a recommended practice that we schedule the public hearing. In the past few years, we have not we had not needed the local law because the village budgets did not pierce the tax cap. In fact, they stayed significantly under. But we do this as a precautionary measure, and usually we just open and close the public hearing.
Can I ask a question? So are we, since I definitely don't want to have to pierce the tax cap, are we going to be able to rescind this if we do not pierce the tax cap?
Well, generally what we do is we open and close it with no action. That's what
Okay.
we've done in
So
the
it
past.
just sits on the books?
Well, the resolution, the public record shows that the public hearing was opened and closed, or we adjourn the public hearing or take no action with it. I in the past had recommended that we open, close, no action, and that's the end of the public hearing.
Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Go ahead, no, go
I'm
ahead.
assuming in the past, we've tabled it because
Yep.
we, put together budgets
Right.
that were well under.
Right.
Right,
But,
exactly.
Right.
So this is really a formality, just to cover us.
To
but
cover us, I get it.
We
I get
haven't
it.
used it.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 7, whereas Chapter 116 of the Village Code allows for the village to recoup the cost of consultant fees needed to assist the land use boards within the village and the applicants appearing before those boards, and whereas the specific section of the code provides in relevant part as follows. Section 116-40, 1 through 6, deposit amounts. The amount of the initial deposit for various departments and/or applications covered by this chapter shall be $1,000 for the application before the Board of Trustees, Zoning Board of Appeals, or Planning Board for approval of a project, including any of the considerations as included in paragraph 1A above. With respect to the applications brought before the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation, upon determining that a consultant as identified in paragraph 1A above shall be needed with respect to an application before the BARHP, is empowered to retain the same with all costs related to the consultant being recouped by the applicant. The amount of deposits described here may be changed from time to time by resolution of the Board of Trustees, emphasis added. Whereas the Board of Trustees has been made aware of certain projects that were brought before the Board of Zoning Appeals, and the Board of Trustees, when it is acting in its land use capacity, are of the nature that a consultant may not be needed, or that if a consultant is needed, the cost incurred will not be expected to reach an amount of the required deposit. Now therefore be it resolved that the amount of the required deposit for applications before either the Board of Zoning Appeals or the Board of Trustees shall be changed, and that the village planner shall have the discretion to waive such initial deposit if, in the planner's determination, the nature of the proposed work may not require the input of the consultant, or that the cost incurred for the consultant will not reach an amount of $1,000, and be it further resolved that any waiver of the required deposit in no way removes the obligation under section 116-41 through 3 of the Village Code, that any applicant before a land use board is required to reimburse the village for any reasonable costs incurred by the land use board for private consultation fees or any other extraordinary expense in connection with the review of an application. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Just a quick discussion.
Yeah.
When we
Right.
use the word consultant, are we also referring to an attorney or just a historical consultant?
So the historical consultant is there's nothing changing here in that regard. What this is really doing is, there were applicants coming before the Zoning Board of Appeals for something very minor, and there was sticker shock, I would say, that they were having to put up a $1,000 deposit for their case to be heard. So upon the Zoning Board's recommendation that we should not always require a $1,000 deposit up front, that this should be at the discretion of the building department, in this case, the village planner, that they could waive that if, again, they did not think that the use of a third-party consultant was going to reach that level, they would be able to do that. This does not affect the planning board, because the planning board, it was determined again, always has fees at least of $1,000, and so therefore the deposit of $1,000 for a planning board application remains. But this was to clean up or change the situation of someone going before the zoning board with something very minor, where it was not going to incur the cost of a consultant that would be in the range of $1,000.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that. I think this is a good update. Very helpful, so thank you, everybody.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 8, resolved that the 2022 LoSAP retirement points listing for all volunteer fire department workers of the Southampton Fire Department has met the required posting requirements and has been certified by the village fire department chief and manager and is hereby approved. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. I'm going to request that resolution number 9 be tabled. The ambulance department was unable to get the report to us, so they're in the process of doing that. It'll probably be at the next meeting. So could we have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution number 10, resolved that the Board of Trustees directs the Finance Office to make the following modification from budget line A3410.452, Fire Department Training Conferences in the amount of $10,000 to budget line A3410.44, Fire Department Contractual Services in the amount of $10,000. This was requested by the fire chief because they had not had they hadn't have the need for the amount that was in their training budget, but they needed it for some other expenses, including some of the fire alarm upgrades we needed in the building. So, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 11, whereas the Board of Trustees accepts a donation in the amount of $5,000, which is earmarked for the purchase of police body camera mounts. Now therefore be it resolved that the budget is hereby amended to reflect the following donation. Increase in line A2703, gifts and donations, the amount of $5,000, and increase budget line A3120.2, police equipment, in the amount of $5,000. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolved that the Board of Trustees appoints Eileen Powers Esquire as hearing officer to provide over a disciplinary hearing at a rate of $275 an hour. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 13, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with Roaring Thunder Media related to advertising at the Village Heliport for the time period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Question. How much is this contract worth?
The contract requires payment by Roaring Thunder of 60% of gross receipts to the village. So it's not a dollar value, it's based on
Whatever.
It's
what
a
they
revenue
earn in
sharing
revenue.
contract. So when they find advertisers, like we did last year, we had Cartier,
And so
they,
do we like that, that split? They get 60%?
We
No,
get six,
we get 60%.
We get 60, okay, that's better. I was worried about it. All right, that sounds all right. Okay, thank you for that.
okay,
So it's a
And
good
they
point.
do
Is there,
everything.
should we put a minimum payment though in there? Or is that, I know they might not want to agree to that, but what we don't want to have happen is them have, essentially exclusivity over this, and then if they don't find anybody, then we're not able to find another partner. That's my only concern. I don't know if that's something that we could
That's a
amend.
concern. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
there was a contract under similar terms with them last year
Right.
that I believe worked out well for the
Yeah,
village.
did.
and they do have the responsibility to come back and present to the board for advertisers, and the board can approve that, and we usually negotiate those on an individual basis. So this doesn't just give them free range.
Well, no, but this, would the village have the ability to lease space to anybody else?
No.
No.
Yeah, see, that's a little bit of a problem, maybe. Mayor has a good point. What do you think we want to do here?
Unless we have the ability to rescind this, so basically we want to give them a certain amount of time. I mean, now they have the window to find somebody for us, but if it gets to, call it May 1st and there's still nobody, then that could be an issue. They likely will find somebody, so.
Do you consider a motion to table to executive session, and we can address modifications to the proposed contract there?
Yes.
Okay, motion to table specifically for the purpose of contractual matters.
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 14, whereas the Village of Southampton was awarded a Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization Grant in the amount of $85,642, and whereas the village has received a proposal from LKMA for a survey and design of the intersection of Main Street and Jobs Lane pedestrian infrastructure improvements, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approves Lewis L. McLean Associates P.C. to provide a survey and design of the reconstruction of the existing signal located at the intersection of Main Street and Jobs Lane at a cost not to exceed $25,600. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 15, whereas the Board of Trustees approved the event application by Bill Kenny, Paragon Festivals, to host their Festival of the Arts to be held at Agawam Park on Saturday, July 8th and Sunday, July 9th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now therefore be it resolved at the request of the board on February 21st, the amended date for this event is Saturday, August 12th, 2023, and Sunday, August 13th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with a setup date of August 11th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Quick discussion. I just wanted to thank our village clerk, Kathy Sweeney, for the help on this, and the entire village board for their modification and their flexibility on this. So thank you to everybody, and thank you to Kathy.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Resolution number 16, the Board of Trustees approves Massapequa Park Bike Club to hold its 2023 Tour of the Hamptons on Sunday, October 1st, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This event is expecting 700 participants. To start and finish will be at Southampton High School. All funds raised will be donated to the American Heart Association. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Andrew, do we have a walk-on?
We do. Is there a motion for for two walk-ons? And then upon
I'll make
motion-
a motion.
And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried unanimously. The first walk-on resolution. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation to retain Zachary Studenroth as consultant to that board with compensation not to exceed $150 per hour. Is there a motion?
So
They don't make a motion either to amend that, either say for a 6-month basis or a case-by-case basis. One of the two could work. I'm not sure if anyone has a preference.
I would do case by case.
Maybe kind of amend it to, thank you, amend it to say on a case-by-case basis. Because we may be looking for more of a full-time person to fill this position, but he's helping us out.
Do you want the board to approve requests from ARB on a case-by-case basis? Because otherwise, who is assigning for the case-by-case?
well, that's going to become cumbersome, especially if they need to do something quickly and we're not meeting.
Do you want to do a 6-month period?
Oh, so then they wouldn't have to do that.
Then they don't have to make individual referrals to your board.
Well, he's got a point.
I think that works, 6 months, okay?
That's
Let's
fine.
do a 6-month
Okay.
period.
The resolution as modified reads, resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation to retain Zachary Studenroth as consultant to that board with compensation not to exceed $150 per hour for the period of time from March 3, 2023 through September 3, 2023. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The
And those
motion,
costs, actually, just for the public's edification, those costs will be recouped by the applicant. So they will not be paid by the village.
the second walk-on is resolved, based upon the recommendation of the village administrator, the Board of Trustees ratifies the proposed February 5, 2023 agreement between the Board of Trustees and William Miller and authorizes the village administrator to execute same. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Carries unanimously.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll move
Thank
to comments from board members tonight. We'll kick this off with Trustee Aresta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to congratulate Officer McIntyre. I mean, I heard that story. It's a little scary to me, so I appreciate all the work the police do here and throughout everywhere. It's tough being a police officer, especially these days. Kudos to the DPW this week. It was a little bit of a snowstorm, but they did a great job, and I was very happy that it wasn't a blizzard because we have new people on board, and also we did some, after the blizzard last year, we did some rethinking, and everyone has a route. So it was great practice, and they went out and they did their routes. Everybody was familiar with them. It was a good test run for DPW, and everything worked out all right, and thankfully it wasn't a big blizzard. Just to report on a couple of other things that they're working on, Phase 2 of the Old Town bioswales will be completed by next week. So that's been an ongoing project, and it's looking very good down there at Old Town. And DPW is continuing to work on sidewalks on the main walkways throughout the village. They're really in dire need of work. There's a lot of tripping going on here, so we are working on that. And they're also, of course, preparing for the spring with the flower boxes and all the other spring preparation they have to do to get ready for the season. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Aresta. Nice work, Trustee Brown.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to have a special thank you to our police officers, congratulating our officer of the month, our employee of the month, and thank you. And I'd like to give a little bit of an update on the commercial vehicle inspection with the Department of Transportation. I'd like to thank Acting Chief, and I'd like to thank Officer Castle, and I'd like to thank our Sergeant Dunkirk, because that is something that's quite important. What they have initiated is inspecting commercial vehicles, and I want to tell you about the success that they have had already in one day. 45 tickets, 4 trucks removed from service, and 1 driver removed from being unsafe. Now, as we know, the traffic is a main thing, but this is a safety issue that also helps with our traffic. I want to commend you all and thank you for the great work. That's just one day. I'm excited about this, and thank you all to Southampton's finest.
Thank you, Trustee Brown. I saw Sergeant Dorchek out there making it happen, so thank you. All right, we'll keep on moving here. Trustee Manger.
Yes, I've been working with Trustee Brown on getting new signage for the village beaches for the summer. Again, these would be donated so that we would have uniform signs at all the village beaches instead of the haphazard signage that we have at the village beaches right now. So there's going to be a mock-up of a sample sign, I believe, coming in the next several weeks, and we'll be able to take a look at that. And then, again, if everybody likes that, we will be able to have those made up for all of the other beaches. And again, we are hoping to have a donor in the village donate the cost of those signs, and we could have them up by sometime early this summer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trustee Manger. And Trustee Stevenson.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to recognize all of the people, such as Officer McIntyre, who go about their lives every day doing their job and making this village the place that we all love. I'd love to recognize one person in particular, a young man named Jim Tuthill, who is retiring this week after 37 years in the post office. For the last 20 years, he's been delivering my mail to me every day at my store on Job's Lane. And every day when he comes in, whether it's rainy or whatever, he's always got something good to say, asks me about the Islanders or the Jets or something like that. And it's just people like that who really just by going about their jobs every day make all of our lives a lot better. So I wish him a happy retirement, and go Islanders, go Jets, just for me today, not for my life, just for today.
You're a Sabres and Bills fan.
just for today. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. I too wanted to send one additional thank you to SVPD, P.O. McIntyre, and the rest of the group for all your hard work. Again, Sergeant Dorchek, thanks for the hard work on the commercial vehicle inspection training.
That was really Sergeant Dunkirk. I was just patrolling that day.
Right. It's funny, I was out for a jog and I was seeing everything go on, and so
Yeah, me too. It was great.
I appreciate it.
Andrew showed me the computer and what was going on. It was really very interesting.
All right. So, and also wanted to recognize our fire department for St. Patrick's Day. Some members will be traveling to Dublin. We have a very special relationship with the Dublin Fire Brigade, so that should be very exciting for the Southampton Village Fire Department. Deputy Mayor, thank you for the work on the Old Town bioswales. Those are in the sidewalks, very important. Those are coming along nicely. Trustee Stevenson and I did a walkthrough around the downtown the other day with Chris LaGuardia, and we had some discussions about creating a village landscaping plan. So maybe when the spring and summer rolls around, Deputy Mayor work with you as well as the liaison to DPW. A little bit of beautification efforts, some more plantings, flower pots, beautifying some of the walls that are in desperate need of some TLC. So we hope that maybe this is something we can move forward. We also will be going out to some nonprofits to see if they can help us, such as the Village Improvement Society, so that could be a nice addition to the village. Also just wanted to recognize the work of the Sewer Task Force. We're making good progress and getting closer and closer to the acquisition of a parcel. I had a conversation with the Deputy County Executive today, Peter Scully, and we invited, he's, basically in charge of the sewers in Suffolk County, so we invited him to our next sewer task force meeting so we can give him an update. And also wanted to recognize their DPW department. Every department stepped up in a big way for really the first storm of the season. Highways was out with their plows, Parks was taking care of the downtown. They did a good job salting, then getting rid of the salt once the ice melted. Central Garage for making sure the vehicles were well maintained, and then obviously the building maintenance for filling in everywhere that was needed. And then lastly, I wanted to echo Trustee Stevenson's comments about Jim. Worked for the United States Postal Service. He was the highlight of many businesses' days, coming through the door and blessing us and gracing us with his smile and positive attitude every day. And I think if the board is open to it, I think I'd love to invite him back, maybe to our next board meeting, or perhaps have a little celebration for him in front of Village Hall, where we can invite members of the community, members of the village staff, and just recognize him for his multi-decade-long service. He was a true public servant and really made Southampton Village special. So we all wanted to recognize Jim for his service. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel, legal, and contractual matters. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for everyone coming out tonight. Thank you. Thank you. It is March 2nd. The time is 7:42 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to return to public session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Our village attorney, Andrew Preston, has resolutions.
Mayor?
Should we make a motion to walk them on?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a motion to reconsider prior resolution 4. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. A proposed modified resolution 4. Resolved, the Board of Trustees, Board of the Incorporated Village of Southampton Village authorizes the village clerk to publish a notice of public hearing to be held on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 at 6 o'clock p.m. as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting regarding local law 11 of 2023, the proposal to amend section 34 of chapter 110, schedule C, prohibited turns at intersections, based upon recommendations of a forthcoming traffic study. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Next, is there a motion to reconsider resolution number 13?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. A reconsidered resolution number 13. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with Roaring Thunder Media related to advertising at the Village Heliport for the time period of January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023, to satisfaction of the village administrator and village attorney. Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. I believe that's all the business for this evening.
All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. The time is 7:44 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.